In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. Today, we're going to dig into the concepts of niching and focusing into a single vertical. And we'll talk a little bit too about writing a book and marketing books and some of the ins and outs of that. My guest today is Quinn, who's an agency growth advisor and an extremely experienced and successful CMO and agency high-level performer. Corey, thanks so much for joining me today.
Hey, Emmanuel, I'm super excited to be here and to pour into your audience.
Well, congratulations on putting together an amazing chronicle of how someone can change their marketing agency. and having really a bunch of great reviews on Amazon, so we know from the UGC that it delivers what you promised. So congrats on that.
Thank you very much. It didn't come easy, but I'm very proud of the final product.
Yeah, well, that's good. What have you found has been the best marketing vehicle for selling books for you?
So I would say strategically, looking back, probably the best thing that I did was to coordinate a launch experience, a book launch experience, right, which sounds pretty straightforward, but it required a lot of work. I had brought in an assistant. It had to do with trying to find people to help me to promote the launch of the book. And so a lot of coordination, a lot of getting people excited about the launch. Leading up to that, I think what helped me to make that launch party really successful is that a lot of the book that I wrote it in public. What that means is I was not kind of writing a book off in the shadows off to the side and then publishing it and announcing it. It was announced much earlier. Hey, everyone, I'm writing this book and this is who I'm writing it for. And I'm really excited. And so I would post that on social, and I'd also do weekly updates. One of my social posts was the update on the book.
Nice.
And so as a result of that, I think people naturally want to, root for others to win. And they wanted, writing a book is like any other hard venture. It takes, grit and endurance and a lot of patience and blood, sweat, and tears, all the things. And so I got a lot of really great support from people along the way. And then when it came time to ask people to help me launch the book, luckily I had about 100 people in my launch party. And what that means specifically for me is on launch day, they all bought a copy of the book, 99 cents. And if they liked it, they all were asked to leave a review.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's how I was able to kind of get the word out. All of a sudden, within a couple of days of publishing on Amazon, I had 20, 30, even 40 reviews, which made it look like, and it was a good book, but it made it look like there was some substance here to the book with all the reviews and all that. So.
Yeah. And Amazon uses that in their algorithm for recommendations. The more reviews you have, the better.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, and it's and I say farming in a positive way, not sometimes the negative way, but you're farming support and building the excitement. I love that word. I have an author buddy who's doing the one chapter at a time release, and same kind of thing. He's doing it, so he's making a little bit of money along the way too. But
great, why not? Yeah. Another thing, since I'm on the topic, one thing that really helped me out is I reached out to some authors who I didn't know personally, but I respected them. I read their work, and I reached out to them and introduced myself. Said, "Hey, you've inspired me. You've inspired this book. Would you mind endorsing it?" And as a result of that, I got like an 80% hit rate. I got endorsements from amazing people, including Dr. Benjamin Hardy, April Dunford, who's in the marketing world, Aaron Ross, who wrote from what is it, from something to Inevitable. He wrote a bunch of other books, but a lot of really great people. And what that also allowed me to do was to promote the heck out of the fact that these people endorsed my book, right? Which again just built some momentum and excitement.
Yeah, I love that. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the principles that you outline in terms of agencies niching down. I think the first question is, why do you think it's so hard for marketing agencies to niche?
Yeah. Well, I think, in some respects, we're pre-wired to say yes to opportunity. And the way that an agency gets going in this world, most of the time, there's some exceptions, is that they are typically already employed somewhere else, right? In the early days, typically employed somewhere else, or maybe freelancing on Fiverr, or whatever that was before it was Fiverr. And they're maybe doing websites or SEO on the side. And eventually they build up enough clients that they're able to go out on their own and grow the business. And of course, the first clients that a business owner gets in this world is going to typically over deliver on those first clients. Yeah. And as a result of over delivering, you get referrals, and then you start saying yes to them as well. So and all of a sudden you have a business that's filled up with a whole bunch of different types of businesses. And it's great because you're in business and maybe you have an employee or two, maybe you have an office space, maybe you're virtual, but you look up and you realize that, hey, my business is full of context switching. Like today I'm building a website for a dentist. Tomorrow I'm doing an SEO strategy for a furniture maker. And then the next day I'm doing a e-commerce strategy for a manufacturing company, right? And so you have all these all these different clients cause operational inefficiency. You're not able to really have things like tried and true processes. And there's these things called SOPs, right? We all talk about SOPs, but they live in the drawer, or they collect dust because no one looks at them because they suck, right? And so the next step in that, this is what I'm describing as a negative flywheel. And what happens when you have a business that has no operational efficiency, when everyone's kind of doing something else and everything's one off, you create a business full of bottlenecks. Right. And typically the biggest bottleneck in the business is who do you get?
Is the owner.
Yeah. Is the owner, right? Because they're the only ones who knows what was sold to everyone and what needs to get done. And so they become that bottleneck. And of course, when you have a business like that, the challenge is that your product quality suffers in some respects. You ship a mediocre product, a good enough product, because you got to get to the next thing. Yep. And when you build a business around a mediocre product, you begin to be perceived as a commodity. And in commodities, you lose business. People leave you because they believe that, hey, this agency, they're not that great. I think I can get something better, probably cheaper or better somewhere else. Maybe work with a specialist. And of course, when you lose clients, causes you as an owner to chase revenue. And when you're chasing revenue, you have to say yes to everyone. You repeat the cycle because you got bills to pay, trying to get kid through college and all the things, right? And so this becomes a perpetual, what I call generalist trap. You are a generalist, you're serving too many types of clients, you're saying yes to everyone. And I think the root of it, to your question, is as entrepreneurs, we're rewarded by saying yes, by being in business. We get money coming in, we get checks and all these great things. And it's hard to break that cycle, honestly.
Yeah, it is a tough one to break that cycle.
Yeah.
Got your little QR code there.
I see that. This is beautiful. I love this.
So, all right. So then let's talk about what is the process by which an agency owner would say, hey, I don't want to be a generalist. I want to be able to charge premium prices. How do I figure out what my niche is?
Yeah. Before I do, let me tell you some context about my background, because I think it will help to kind of qualify why am I even talking about this stuff? Yeah. So my background is I have about 20 years in the agency space. I know I don't look it, but I've been in the business world for about 30 years. And I started off in a sales role. So I graduated from USC here in Los Angeles with my MBA, and I got my first postgraduate job in an agency. I was a sales development representative, I should say a business. What do we call it back then? A BD, a business development representative. And my job was to go out and close deals, and we did pretty well. I personally closed deals with Lululemon, Remax, Hyundai, the Men's Warehouse, really, really big deals, large retail brands. And I love sales. And I was the number one sales guy at that agency for 19 consecutive quarters. I eventually made my way into sales management. And then I was most recently the chief marketing officer at a company called Scorpion. Yeah, Scorpion. And it actually was a good name, believe it or not, because we were working with attorneys originally, and personal injury attorneys like being aggressive. That's their whole thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, what's that?
They like to fight.
They like to fight. So that name worked out for us. And during my time there, we grew revenue from 20 million to 200 million. And one of the things the foundational things that we did that allowed us to scale up a service business, like any other agency, we just did a couple of things differently. One is that we were vertically specialized. And what that meant is that if you were an attorney and you work with us, you talk to an attorney-focused salesperson who only works with other personal injury clients. When you become a client, you work with an account management team who also only work with personal injury attorneys. So everything we did for you as a client, as your agency, was extremely relevant. And in fact, we could help you to see into the future about what is the next thing for your growth. So we leveraged that. We went from legal into home services and medical and franchise, and we scaled up the business. And so out of that experience, I walked away at the end of 2021 and decided to invest my time, about a year, writing this book and really crystallize some of the things that helps agencies predictably escape that generalist trap that I talked about. And, it's a different kind of flywheel than we talked about. It's called the deep specialization flywheel. And I'd love to share with you what that is.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Yeah.
Okay. So it starts by having a vertical focus, which means that you choose an industry or a vertical market. It could be dentists, it could be plumbers, it could be manufacturing. There's a process by which I teach my clients on how to do that. But effectively, you choose one industry to target. Going forward, we're just going to build our agency around this one client. And over time, you begin to close 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 of these clients. You begin to build some expertise. And that's due to the fact that you're able to, you have repetition, you have repeated problems that you're solving over and over and over again. Of course, when you do that, it reminds me of the old Bruce Lee quote, which is, "I fear not the man that's practiced 1,000 kicks once. I fear the man that's practiced one kick 1,000 times." Sure. So naturally, out of that expertise, you begin to build systems, and it could be anything from frameworks, playbooks, onboarding. It could even be software. At Scorpion, we built a lot of software that took out all the manual or many of the manual steps in onboarding a client. Sure. We thought of it as kind of like a conveyor belt, or like an assembly line. When a client signed a contract, they went down this very well-defined assembly line. They got this experience, this amazing experience from a client's perspective, but we were able to launch their sites faster, launch their campaigns faster, starting getting them value really quickly. Of course, when you have expertise and systems, then you move into operational leverage. And that's where you're able to predict outcomes, become known as the agency that you go to get great results. Of course, that helps you to improve your positioning and improve your pricing. When you're an expert in a field with a rare and hard to find skill set, you're able to charge more prices. We all know that, right? And so the thing that makes it a flywheel as we go around is this last step, which is you want to take the expertise, the systems, the leverage, the positioning, the premium pricing, and then you want to take the margin that naturally produces and then reinvest in the vertical. Don't take that money home, put it in your pocket. You want to put it back into, if it's illegal, for example, as we did in Scorpion. What that meant is we wrote better software. We trained our employees even better than they were. We hired great sales trainers. We hired great sales teams. We did cool things in marketing. Like literally, Emmanuel, I would give away cars. I would give away cookies and gifts and trips and all these amazing things. Yeah. Due in part because we had greater margin. So I'll tell you an example, just to give you some like brass tacks behind this. In the world of personal injury attorneys, they would hire us for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month. and they would stay with us for 30 months. Our next closest generalist competitors would sell those same attorneys, personal injury attorneys, a $2,000 deal per month, and they would leave after 12 months.
Right.
So if you take a step back and you look at the total value of a client for Scorpion, and according to these numbers, one client was worth $300,000, $500,000 in revenue for Scorpion, with the same client was worth $24,000 to that other agency. And so because we knew they would stay with us for longer, we could charge more. That again reinforced our ability to really kick in that flywheel.
Yeah, I love it where you're reinvesting into the assets and the clients in order to provide better services and better relationships. Yeah,
exactly. And you just grow from there.
Yeah. Well, so then let's just talk a little bit about what would be the process for an agency to start figuring out how to verticalize like that.
Yeah. Well, the first step is the most important step, which is the vertical selection. And I'll tell you a quick story of a woman who came to me. She was very, very frustrated because she had bought into this idea of niching down and vertical specialization. And what she did was it's actually not an agency, but it's a service-based business. She's an accounting firm working with businesses. And the first vertical market or niche she went into was wealth management.
Okay.
And so she started going to their conferences and writing content for them and speaking on their stages and building relationships and doing all this great stuff. And she started building this expertise and this positioning until eventually she realized that I love the wealth management industry. There's a great people there. However, there's just not enough of them for me to build the kind of business that I really want to build. It's just too small of a market.
Yeah.
So she said, okay, I'm going to scrap this. I'm going to find another vertical market that has a lot more businesses. So interestingly, she went into the agency was her focus. And so what did she do? She started going to conferences, writing content, speaking from their stages, networking, all that great stuff. Again, and she started building that reputation in the market. And she realized at some point that despite the fact there are a lot of agencies, they're just not her people.
No, she wants very specific to the micron people, not big picture thinkers.
Exactly. And so she came to me because she was frustrated because she felt like she'd spent years and years doing this vertical niching down thing, but she was basically back to square one. So there's three things that really must be in place for you to make a long-term decision, which means that you don't change every 6 months. The first one is that you want to go in and harvest the wisdom that exists within your business today. Right. Okay. If you've been in business for a while, you probably kissed a couple frogs. You've probably done a lot of work for a lot of different people. And the good news about that is that you have not only the experience because you went through that, but you also have a lot of data that you can use to mine and try to uncover patterns in the data. So of course you want to do things like group all your revenue by vertical market and see which verticals pay us the most, which ones we have the best retention on, where do we get the most referrals. All of that sort of stuff is fairly straightforward, but you need to do it. You need to reflect on like where are we strongest amongst all these different types of verticals. But you also want to talk to people on your sales team if you have one. Like, who do you like selling to? It's no secret that salespeople like selling to people who buy from them, right? So there's a good product fit, right? And you talk to your account management team. The people who are happiest account clients are the ones that are getting the value that they bought, right? So where is there a good fit there? So you want to go through your business and really be mindful about what wisdom exists. By the way, I have a focus finder process that helps with this. Then the second step is probably the one step that everyone skips. This is the most important step in my mind. Well, I guess the second most important. Okay, here we go. So it is, you actually have to give a damn about the people you're serving.
Nice. Yeah.
Here's why. Yeah, you absolutely, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with these folks. You're going to be going to their conferences, speaking with them on your podcast. You're going to be writing books for them. You're going to be immersing yourself in their industry. I'll give you a quick example of, or a quick story about someone who's done this, I think, at the best level. His name is Luke Egebraten, and he is the CEO founder of an agency called Phaser Marketing. And what he did is brilliant, which is they target the construction industry. And if you listen to Mike Rowe or what's going on in the economy right now, we know that there is a growing demand for work, blue collar workers, people in the trades, but there's just not enough people going into the trades. Right. Mike Rowe says that there's a 5 to 2 problem. The 5 is that the 5 people who are retiring out of the industry, only 2 people are coming in. And so Luke, whose clients are the construction industry, he not only, of course, helps them to run ads to find employees, but he also, because he knows that this is a foundational, kind of a chronic problem for the industry, what he has done is he has started a nonprofit. He has a foundation that is built on raising awareness of careers in the trades. Every year he has a big black tie dinner, and they give away one of those big paper checks to a student who's graduating high school and going into the trades. He goes on stages, he writes books, he evangelizes the the careers in the trades. And that's probably an amazing, maybe over the top example of really caring about the industry. But that is, at a minimum, you have to be willing to almost mentally leave your own industry and want to become a part of that industry if you really want to become an insider to their world.
Yeah,
that's number 2.
It's the difference between having customers and having clients, right? We actually care about our clients.
Correct. It's not transactional.
Transactional. Yeah, exactly.
Correct. And interestingly, I know a lot of the show is about. It's a bit of a tangent, but I think it's relevant. A lot of this show is about AI, and I think AI is creating an opportunity for agencies to become more strategic, to be much more transformational in the work they do, because AI is really helping to supplement the transactional stuff, the copy, the images. It's good. It's getting better. It'll continue to get better. But the third step you need to do. So the first one was harvest the wisdom in your business. Second one is you got to give a damn. You have to find a vertical market that you actually can resonate with. I have something that's called the Care Compass that can help with that. And then the third step is you actually have to look at the total addressable market. You can't ignore the number of businesses, because if you do, you'll end up in an industry that only has 500 businesses. You'll never get anywhere. You'll be like Nicole, the other business owner. So what you're looking for is a large enough number, and I'll give you an example here in a second, but you want to assume that you're going to get out of the total addressable market, which means how many businesses are in that industry that have a problem that you can solve, which, by the way, you can get that number very easily from Perplexity and these
the research engines. Yeah.
Research engine. Thank you. And thank you very much for that. And you can get that number, but that's not your number. The number is, you want to take that total addressable market from Perplexity or ChatGPT or wherever you get your data from, and you want to multiply that by 20%, which of course is the Pareto principle.
Right.
And you want to focus on the 20%, and then I want you to take 3% of that number, so a very small fraction of the market, and that number multiplied by the average annual revenue for a client, that will give you some figure that should make you as a founder go, ooh, that's interesting. I like this a lot. I'll give you an example. So in the world of residential plumbing in the United States, where I am at, I'm assuming are you stateside?
Yeah, I'm out of Reno, Nevada.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So in the United States, I believe there's like 43,000 plumbing businesses. If you sold 1% of them, 430 times whatever, let's say you charge $5,000 a month, which is $60,000. I'm not gonna do the math live on YouTube.
$1
couple million bucks.
Yeah.
It's a good start, right? And you build a repeatable business, which has good margins. You have a great reputation, and it's a place to grow from. So the 3% is based on once you have gotten to 3% of any addressable market, even the Pareto, I call the Pareto market, that gives you a signal that, hey, I can go start to develop the next vertical market. So you're not just stuck in plumbers. Maybe you get into HVAC, and maybe you go on the next one. But you want to have enough momentum that allows you, the founder, to lift your head up and go to the next one.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Corey, some great starting points, and I know the book is a great resource, and
Thank you
you
very
also
much.
do work with agency owners, and
That's correct.
they can find you at CoreyQuinn.com, I would imagine.
That's it. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. CoreyQuinn.com. And I'd be happy to offer your listeners a copy of the audiobook if that's okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And is that something you can download from your website?
Anyone, not everyone.com. I'll put you on my website, and on there you can download the full audiobook that you can buy on Amazon, on Audible if you want, or you can just download it for free. You also get access to a digital workbook. You get access to a bunch of resources and templates and videos and all this great stuff. So the way I wrote the book is so that you can deploy these tactics. Just say there's 5 steps, deploy those for your business without ever having to hire me. You can do the whole thing from the book. It's very, very helpful.
Yeah, it is. I like your style. I like your stories. I like that you take these things that are a little fantastical for those of us with niche, tiny little agencies to $200 million. I love that.
Yes.
It's aspirational. Yeah,
Sure.
And really well structured, and easy to consume. So really great work. I appreciate.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. I really appreciate that. It's been a pleasure.
Well, I'm thankful for your time, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm hoping that you get some good news in your house deal.
Thank you. Yes.
That your wife is happy. That's the biggest thing.
Happy wife, happy life. Let's go.
Well, thank you so much. Hang out for me while I close the show, and we'll say goodbye correctly.
Sounds good.
Well, I love the process of that Corey talks about, where you're bringing your focus into a single niche, and then doing a little bit of work around what's the niches you've done work in and enjoy working with, the people that your staff and your contractors enjoy working with, the clients also, and then looking at the addressable market and doing some math around that. So I hope you've gotten value from the conversation I had with Corey Quinn today. I also hope that you take some time to research an AI tool that you can integrate into your workflow, and that you can get a couple hours of your work week back. And with that extra time, you can continue to upskill, that you can spend it with your friends and family, and that you can get outside in nature and away from the screens. This is Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.